Right then, Chelsea Football Club go second in the Premier League table as we defeat Burnley 2-0 at Turf Moor. And this win is a massive one for us because we are now in a situation where if the stars align, we could find ourselves top of the Premier League table by next weekend. And even if we don't, winning that game today was so important for what's to come ahead. And I will break it down and get into why I think that Enzo Maresca deserves huge amounts of credit for today. But let's just speak about the game itself first. But people, before we get into all that, welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. If you are new around here, please do subscribe to the channel. You're probably wondering where I am because this isn't the normal location or backdrop. I'm in Saudi at the minute, guys. We're here for the Benavides against Yard fight tonight, and that's at about 5 a.m. Saudi time. I'm going to be working until, so you lot should be grateful. Now, I'm only joking. Please subscribe, hit a like on the video right now. Let's speak about the game. So straight away, we got a understanding or maybe a feeling of what Enzo Maresca holds as being the more important game. And that's obviously the game against Barcelona through the week. We saw a starting lineup without Caicedo in it. You know, Reece James came off, I believe, at half time. So Enzo Maresca definitely gambled a little bit with today's lineup, but it was a gamble that did pay off, to be completely honest. And one thing that I think was really exciting today, and I think that is going to be crucial really to whether or not we're able to come away with wins against the likes of Barcelona and Arsenal, and that was Liam Delap starting through the middle. I thought it worked really well while he was on the pitch. I thought Liam Delap showed really good natural number 9 instincts. And I say natural because, yes, we've played João Pedro there quite a bit. Tyrick George at times. Mark Yu, who came on and made a real impact today. But Liam Delap is the best at doing it for me. And I know you could say that having that sort of figurehead of our attack and really targeting everything to go through him could make us more predictable, but I could also argue that it opens up a lot of space for our wide players who are maybe more creative than Liam Delap, but just not as good at finishers as Liam Delap, maybe not as strong in the box as a Liam Delap. So although they're not as clinical, they were getting themselves into much better positions, and that, I believe, was as a result of the game becoming more narrow because of the threat that Liam Delap was posing. And not only that, with the Cole Palmer injury, that really does give us a bit of an insight into how we're going to play now with João Pedro off the back of Liam Delap. That's the combo that I do think is most likely that we're now going to see against Barcelona, that we're now going to see against Arsenal. And listen, even today, coming away with 3 points, we'll need to be better against Barcelona and against Arsenal. But don't worry, because I think we will be. And around half hour in to the game is when we get our first, I'd say, clear-cut chance. And I'd almost go as far to say chance that really we should be scoring, but I think there is context to it. It's actually Gittins, right, who comes with the ball. It's good play from Delap once again, showing really good strength. He holds off his man with his back to goal. And he puts through Pedro Neto. Now, in hindsight, Pedro Neto maybe should have took the shot there. But Pedro Neto unselfishly spots Jamie Gittins at that back post. Pedro Neto tries to put it onto Jamie Gittins, but Jamie Gittins is being marked by Kyle Walker. And he gets across just in time to be able to nip it out, put it out for a corner. It was a really interesting battle between Jamie Gittins and Kyle Walker, which we will speak about when we speak about more individual performances. But within a few minutes, it's those two lads who right the wrongs. I'm talking about Pedro Neto and Jamie Gittins. But the roles are reversed this time because a ball comes from deep, right? And it comes to Cucurella. One sec. Oh, God, sorry. That was room service. The ball comes to Cucurella. Comes to him on the edge of the box. I think there was a little bit of a tangle going on. Cucurella almost dispossessed, but he manages to hold on to the ball. And when he does that, he puts it out wide to Jamie Gittins. One of my frustrations with our wingers of this season and even last season is just holding on to the ball that tad too long when it needs to be whipped in. And it's not just our wingers, our wide players in general. Melo Gusto has often shown traits of doing that this season. And it's exactly what Jamie Gittins doesn't do in this moment. He whips it in first time to the back stick, and it's Pedro Neto who scores what I can only assume is his first ever diving header. Can anyone remember him scoring a diving header? Can't even remember him scoring a header, to be honest. But yeah, either way, it really does show the quality of the two of them there, because that was a really hard goal to execute, both the assist and the finish. And as much as I'm happy for Pedro Neto, who we'll speak about in detail, I'm really, really happy for Jamie Gittins, because he had a tough battle against Kyle Walker. It was no secret to anyone that watched the game. The success that we were going to have today was coming from that right-hand side. Pedro Neto had his man on toast, whereas Kyle Walker was presenting Jamie Gittins with some real challenges. Challenges that I think he can only learn from and that will benefit him. Because so far I've looked at Jamie Gittins and I thought, yeah, in European matches you're looking good and stuff like that. Lower level competition, which you could argue Burnley are. But at the same time as that, mate, lower level competition or not, you've got Kyle Walker on you. Do you know what I mean? He's playing for AC Milan last season, Man City, whatever. Yeah, people can say he's getting past it and whatnot, but if you're an up-and-coming player, you'll learn a lot from going to battle like he did today with Kyle Walker. And at half-time, I'm kind of looking at it. It's 1-0 to Chelsea. I'm not that worried, to be honest, because they haven't created all that much that's had me panicking. And even Chelsea as well, like, we haven't really showed a lot of vulnerability, and when we have shown that vulnerability in terms of having the ball nicked off of us, Burnley haven't been able to capitalise on it. So I'm always a glass half full type man, and I was confident at half time. I was intrigued to see what Maresca did in terms of personnel, how he went with the subs. Obviously, as I said, Reece James came off at half time, Benoit Badiashile came on. I think that's really, really good. It's a positive sign, isn't it? All in all, we had a lot of positive signs. The likes of Liam Delap, who came off after an hour, the likes of Reece James, who came off at half-time, whereas this Caicedo not playing today, are all going to feature against Barcelona, which I'm buzzing about. Even more so than that, Esteval looks like he's going to feature against Barcelona regardless. Just after the hour mark, Pedro Neto nearly adds not only a second for himself, but a second for Chelsea after Burnley gets, I'd say lucky really, don't they, when the shot rebounds off of the post. Really good play to kickstart the move, because it's Andre Santos that nicks the ball out in midfield and he releases it straight away. And I think that that's something that is a trait that we can benefit from massively when Andre Santos is in the team, and it's something that we saw multiple times today. Andre Santos had a very, very hard job today. He was tasked with filling the monumental boots of Moises Caicedo, and he had some hit or miss moments, but I would say they were mostly hits. I really, really rated the work that Andre Santos did today. As for the actual move itself, Santos puts it over the top, like I said. Pedro Neto this time does go for goal. He tries to go for the near post and he beats the keeper. So, you know, Dubravka was beaten, but it's the woodwork that keeps Burnley in it for the time being. We had a couple of chances after that. Malo Gusto has somewhat found his shooting boots a little bit now, because he had a shot on target. That was tipped over the bar. But it's the 88th minute when the game changes in the best possible way for Chelsea, because I've seen us hold on to leads, like, you know, against Spurs, like the 4-3 against Wolves when they scored a couple of goals, come back and whatnot. But I've also seen us drop leads late. You know, the Brighton game, particularly, horrible memories for me. And obviously, you know, we were drawing until late, but against Sunderland. So when it gets to that last 15 minutes of the game and you're only leading by one goal, that's when I really do start to think, right, Chelsea need to show maturity now. They need to show the ability to kill off games. And doing that is so much easier said than done. So much easier said than done. Because how can you show maturity when you don't have maturity? You have to be mature beyond your years, because our oldest player is about 27. If you look at the average age on the pitch, most matches, we're looking at 21, 22. And that's where the relevance comes into being able to see out games and cut off games. And with senior players on the field like Reece James and like Caicedo, yeah? And some of the boys that were on the field, by the way, like Robert Sanchez, Trevor Chalobah, Enzo Fernandez, so many more. But with those senior players, I have more confidence. Whereas today I was looking at it, And do you know what the other thing is? Every time I've been in Saudi to watch a Chelsea game, we've lost. I think every time I've watched a Chelsea game here, we've lost. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, God, I'm not liking the signs of this. But it's the 88th minute as Burnley are desperately trying to salvage a point in this game that we go up the other end and kill the game off. We make it 2-0. And again, really, really clever play out from the back this time. Robert Sanchez, right? Malo Gusto plays a risky pass back to Robert Sanchez. Robert Sanchez returns the risk, plays it back to Malo Gusto. Malo Gusto then puts it onto Pedro Neto, and that's where the move really kickstarts, because Pedro Neto cuts inside. By doing so, he basically takes two men out the game, right? And he feeds it to Mark Yu. And I thought that Mark Yu would probably run it into the corner, because I know he's got a lot of physical strength, and I know that he understands that we're holding on to this lead, and the most important thing is that we win this game and come through to face his former side in Barcelona. Mark Yu does not even think twice about running it into the corner. He's running it into the fucking box, right? Shows so much strength there to be able to just completely outmuscle the centre-back when really he had no right to do it. 9 out of 10 times, you see the centre-back come across and take that off of the striker. Mark Yu did really, really well. And not only that, instead of going for the shot on goal himself, he cuts it back. And it's Enzo Fernandez arriving late, right? Lampard-esque. I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying they were the Lampard finishes. You arrive late at the edge of the box and you score, and listen, 2-0 win for Chelsea, so we can't go wrong there. Now, general thoughts on the match. I want to start off by giving Enzo Maresca a little bit of praise, because I often feel like we give him criticism when we either drop certain individuals from the lineups, Caicedo today, for example, when players that I would say 99% of the fan base want to be starting matches don't start, i.e. Esteval. Yeah, only 45 minutes for Reece James, only just over an hour for Liam Delap. And when these things don't work for us, we often moan and we often critique. I do it, I know you guys do it in the comments, so let's give him some positive reinforcement, because by resting those boys, yeah, I've not got a crystal ball, I can't see into the future, but I can tell you one thing, we've got a better chance against Barcelona than had we not of. Imagine Caicedo comes on stage, gets injured, something like that. Then we got no chance. Then we really have. And just before I move on from that, I think that we need to acknowledge the fact that Cole Palmer might not be back for quite a while now. I'm not sure whether I believe the whole stub toe thing. I'm not sure whether I believe it. At the same time, listen, I would quite like it to be a lie, because the only reason that I could see it being a lie is if he has undergone some sort of groin surgery, maybe something minor, and he just needs a little bit more time. And in the long run, listen, this week it's going to be hard. Could we have done with Cole Palmer in our team for the match against Barcelona and the match against Arsenal? 100 million%. Would we have a higher chance of winning those games? 100 million%. But we have shown that we are not a one-man team, and that we can go forward, and that we can march on, and that we can put teams to the sword without Cole Palmer at this moment in time. And when he comes back in, what an addition. What an addition. And just to sort of cap it off, right, I'm looking at things today, and I don't think it was the most exciting Chelsea performance from a negative standpoint. We were dispossessed too easily and on too many occasions in our own half. But I just can't help but feel like they're not issues that are going to transfer into the Barcelona game, because we're going to have a stronger starting lineup out there for a start. Some of the balls that we did give away in our own half, if that's a Caicedo on the ball, I don't feel that he gives that ball away. And not only that, you do rise to the occasion. You do rise to the intensity. And if you look at today's game, I mean, who was the most likely player to score for Burnley? You lot can tell me, because I know who it was. It was Leslie Ugochukwu. He was the most likely player to score for Burnley. And you've got to remember, most of these boys played with Leslie Ugochukwu. And what I'm saying is, when that's your most likely goal threat, yeah, and these boys have played with him and they know that, okay, listen, he might go on to be a great player, but we sold him, so clearly we don't think he's of that level yet, then you know that really you should be winning these games. It's very, very important that we do. And once all's said and done, in a season like this, where, look, we're 11 and 12 games into the season, and realistically, none of us have any idea how this is going to pan out. None of you lot have any idea, in my opinion, whether Chelsea are going to finish second or fifth. Do you know what I mean? I'd back the second, but it is what it is. I just think that Enzo Maresca definitely needs a bit of credit for what he did today. And look, Barcelona at the Bridge is going to be the biggest game at Stamford Bridge. And I don't necessarily mean in terms of consequences. There's been more consequential games. But just in terms of a big team coming to the Bridge, it's the biggest game in Stamford Bridge since probably Real Madrid in the Graham Potter season. So, yeah, it's a big game. We've come through unscathed. We've come through with the 3 points. And let's hope that Newcastle can do us a big favour and take, well, not just points, can beat Man City. Because even if they draw, Man City go back ahead of us probably. But regardless, I'm a Geordie fan for the rest of the afternoon. Now, man of the match, right? I'm going to sit on the fence here. I thought everyone did pretty well today. I think that Andre Santos needs a huge shout out. I thought that in place of Moises Caicedo, he, as I say, had a huge task. And I thought that not only did he carry it out well, sort of silently, the things that you don't notice as much, but he was also involved in key moments in the game. So Andre Santos has to get a huge shout out for today. Enzo Fernandez keeping things ticking along as always. Jamie Gittins, I've spoke about him, but up against Kyle Walcott, I feel like he would have learnt a lot today, and I feel like today's game will make Jamie Gittins ultimately a better player for the experience. I thought he did really well today, Jamie Gittins, but my man of the match has to go to Pedro Neto. It has to go to Pedro Neto. He was involved in everything. Do you know what I mean? Everything that looked creative came through Pedro Neto, I feel, or at least came up that side. And obviously, yeah, you could argue the goal, the Jamie Gittins assist was from the other side, but Pedro Neto to score it. And I'm not just giving him the man of the match for the goal. I'm giving him the man of the match for the overall performance, because I think that Pedro Neto, and I've said it time in, time out, just goes so far under the radar. He's one of these players that the stats boards just don't show how good he is and how important to the team he is. I believe he came off late on. I'd love to see Pedro Neto start with Esteban for that Barcelona match. I think that's probably more likely. Maybe Garnacho, who knows? We will be putting out a preview, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're staying up late tonight, why not watch Anthony Yard against David Benavidez on the Pain Game live? People, I love you all very much. I will see you all in the next one.